Back in the mid-1970s, when disco ruled the dance floors, bell-bottoms ruled fashion, and the second wave of feminism was shaking up the cultural landscape, one Amazon princess kicked open the doors of primetime television. We're talking about Wonder Woman, bullet-deflecting, lasso-swinging, truth-demanding champion of justice. But here's the thing most people forget. Her journey to television greatness was messy, experimental, and almost derailed before it even began. Today, we're cracking open 3 different attempts to bring Diana Prince to television. 3 pilots. 3 wildly different visions of the same superhero. Only one became television legend. So let's rewind the tape. Before the spinning transformation, before the golden lasso, before the bracelet started ricocheting bullets across living rooms everywhere, there was the 1974 experiment. In March of that year, ABC aired a made-for-TV movie simply titled Wonder Woman. The star tennis champion turned actress Kathy Lee Crosby. Now, if you're expecting the Amazon warrior straight from the comics, brace yourself, because this version of Diana Prince looked less like a superhero and more like she wandered in front of a rejected episode of Mission Impossible. Instead of an immortal Amazon princess, Crosby's Diana was reimagined as a globe-trotting secret agent working for American intelligence. No super strength, no bulletproof bracelets, and no magic lasso. Just karate chops, spy gadgets, and a stylish but practical red, white, and blue outfit. The story follows Diana tracking down an international spy ring led by a villain played by none other than Ricardo Montalban. Prior to Fantasy Island, she relies on brains, stealth, and espionage skills to dismantle the operation, essentially turning Wonder Woman into a Cold War spy thriller heroine. The concept wasn't completely random, because around that time, the comics had experimented with a storyline where Wonder Woman temporarily lost her powers. The plot leaned heavily into that idea. Unfortunately, the audiences weren't buying it. Fans tuned in expecting an Amazon warrior and instead got something closer to a generic 70s spy show with a familiar name slapped on the title. Ratings were lukewarm to say the least. Comic readers complained loudly, and ABC quietly shelved the idea of turning it into a series. Still, let's give credit where it's due. Crosby's version did prove something important. Viewers were interested in a strong female action lead on television. They just wanted the real Wonder Woman. Fast forward to November 7th, 1975. ABC rolls the dice again, this time with a new pilot called The New Original Wonder Woman. And this time, they did something radical. They actually adapted the comics. Enter Lynda Carter. From the moment Carter spins into frame in the iconic red, gold, and blue costume, television history changes. The story kicks off when American pilot Steve Trevor crash lands on Paradise Island, the hidden homeland of the Amazons. These warrior women live in a peaceful utopian society led by Queen Hippolyta, played by Cloris Leachman. Diana, the queen's curious and compassionate daughter, nurses Trevor back to health and learns about the war raging in the outside world. Nazis, tyranny, chaos, the whole ugly shebang. The Amazons decide one of their own must escort Trevor back to man's world to help fight the threat. Cue the tournament. After a series of Amazonian trials complete with the famous bullet and bracelet routine, Diana secretly enters the contest, wins, and earns the right to leave Paradise Island. Along with it comes the full mythic arsenal, the bulletproof bracelets, the golden lasso of truth, and the legendary costume. Invisible Jet sold separately. Once she reaches America, Diana adopts the secret identity of a shy military secretary while secretly operating as Wonder Woman, smashing Nazi plots, rescuing allies, and generally making villains regret their life choices. It's action, it's romance, and it's unapologetic comic book spectacle, and audiences absolutely chewed it up. The timing couldn't have been better, because during the 1970s, there was a turning point for women in American culture. The Equal Rights Amendment was dominating headlines. Women were entering the workforce in greater numbers than ever, and television slowly but surely was starting to reflect that shift. The character of Wonder Woman itself had been created decades earlier by psychologist William Moulton Marston as a symbol of female strength and compassionate authority. But it was Carter's performance that truly brought that vision to life. Her Diana Prince wasn't just powerful, she was confident, intelligent, and compassionate. She rescued people instead of waiting to be rescued. She outsmarted villains and outpunched them when necessary. And she did it all with warmth and optimism that made the character instantly iconic. The show regularly drew more than 15 million viewers per episode. Merchandise exploded, Halloween costumes flew off the shelves, and the character even appeared on the cover of Miss Magazine, championed by feminist leader Gloria Steinem, who was also a big fan of Wonder Woman. The ripple effect across television was huge. Shows with strong female leads soon followed, including The Bionic Woman and Charlie's Angels afterwards. Despite its campy tone and occasionally questionable wardrobe choices, the show did something generally groundbreaking. It proved that a female superhero can carry an entire television series. And decades later, Carter's portrayal still influences modern adaptations, including the blockbuster 2017 film starring Gal Gadot. Now, let's jump ahead to 2011 when NBC tried to resurrect Wonder Woman for the modern era. The project came from television writer David E. Kelley and starred Adrianne Palicki as Diana Prince. The show also featured Elizabeth Hurley as corporate villain Veronica Kell. Now, this version of Diana was something entirely new, a billionaire CEO running a global corporation by day and openly fighting crime as Wonder Woman by night. The pilot opens with a dark storyline involving a deadly experimental drug created by Kell Industries. The substance grants superhuman strength, but with catastrophic side effects. Naturally, that means Wonder Woman ends up sprinting down Hollywood Boulevard chasing superpower criminals in broad daylight. The tone was part superhero drama, part legal thriller, and part corporate intrigue. Unfortunately, the result felt confused. Some viewers liked Palicki's tougher, more aggressive take on Diana, while others thought the show couldn't decide whether it wanted to be a superhero epic or an episode of Boston Legal with capes. NBC ultimately passed on the series and the pilot never officially aired, though leaked copies have circulated among curious fans ever since. Now, looking back, these three pilots show how tricky it can be to translate a comic book icon to television. The 1974 version stripped away the mythology and lost the magic, while the 1975 version embraced the fantasy and became legendary. Unfortunately, the 2011 reboot tried to modernize everything and stumbled before leaving the runway. But together they all tell the story of a character who refuses to disappear because whether she's a spy, an Amazon warrior, or a modern corporate superhero, Wonder Woman always circles back to the same core idea: strength, compassion, and truth. And honesty, that's a legacy powerful enough to lasso an entire generation.